It's the Reckless Retiree here with further modifications to the bucket of bangs. I think I will call this version 5.0, and it was a stack up of what was supposed to be used for containing a meal, maybe. Actually, I think it was advertised for containing whatever you needed to be portable for a pet. So you could have water in the top bowl, which was sealed with a lid, and then you could have dog food or cat, well, I guess it would be dog food. You're not gonna walk a cat. Anyway, dog food, and then, like they even said you could put a leash in it. But, so I like the stack up idea. Unfortunately, this is well, they have a larger one, but the larger one still couldn't use the batteries that I ended up getting. These are the batteries I ended up getting. They were inexpensive, I think 2 for $40 or something. Although, so far it's not working, but I don't think it's the battery's fault. I think it's the cell. The cell is kind of worn out, I think. And I'm planning on doing a better cell. Hopefully a better cell. One I saw online, a guy made out of razor blades, stainless steel razor blades. And you string them onto straws, he was pumping out some pretty good gas with that setup. So I'm hoping I can do the same. I'm waiting. I have these pre-cut wires, and they're not working real well with the razor blades themselves. I try to strip them further and they break. So I think they're pre-stripped and maybe even soldered, but they don't like to be stripped further. I'm not sure why that is, if I just don't have the right stripper. I know we used to have a hot stripper. In other words, like a Jaws would get red hot, then you could strip the wire that way, and maybe that's what I need to look into. But anyway, what I'm planning on doing is attaching the wires to mini paper clips and then attaching the paper clips to each razor blade. I have those paper clips coming, and we'll see how that goes. So, I think I've abandoned this setup because I can't get a good enough battery set up with it. I tried using the 9-volt batteries in parallel and in series, as I've explained before, but it just doesn't last very long. And I'm hoping these batteries will last much longer. These are kind of go with the power tool, which would last quite a long time. So once I make the new cell, I'm going to hopefully get this battery to work with it and make some good gas. Now, another modification I've done, or another trial, I guess you could say, you can see lots of YouTube videos online on how to make your own taser. So this is the taser I've made. Now, the ones that they show online are made with PVC pipe, and I didn't want to spend the money on the PVC pipe. So I searched around and I found this old tennis ball container. I hate to call it can because it's made out of plastic. It was easy to put together. Just pop the lid off, drills a few holes. But what I'll show you at this point is I have an on-off switch. With the ones online, they are going to use it as a taser. They have a push button. So I'll show you, hopefully, this sparking against the surface of the liquid. Okay, so you saw that. It works. I think it needs a new 9-volt battery. I'm powering with a 9-volt battery. The guys online are using a battery they got from a power tank that most of them are getting from dollar store for $1. And I have a couple of those, but the 9-volt battery was just easier. One guy used a 9-volt battery. Now the problem I'm having is that it's overheating. So what I plan on doing is putting a bunch of holes in the container here to release the any heat that's made. Well, not all of it, but release some of the heat. Because otherwise it's being contained in the container. So I'm going to put a bunch of holes in that. I'm going to replace that 9-volt battery. And I have my system on the back workbench that produces a ton more gas using the 9-volt deep cell battery and the commercial cell, both of which I don't really want to stay with because they're so heavy and unportable. I want to come up with a portable system. I want someone to be able to have this in their closet, grab it up, go out, pop it in their car, drive to wherever they're going to set off their bangs, and probably with a group of people, and then just set it down, take the top off, and flip a couple of switches, and off they go. That's my dream. And so one of the things I've come up with is this container here, which has 3 levels to it. They all latch together and it has a handle. I like that. It's got plenty of room to do anything. So one thing I'm trying, because it's not going to be as watertight as this cell, I tried, and it's too tall to fit in there, I tried cutting a hole in the bottom so it can drop down low enough to be able to put the lid on. I'm going to have to cut these dividers underneath to get it to fit low enough. And, you can take out the dividers as you need. You turn on some more light, maybe that'll help. Ooh, yeah, that helps a lot, doesn't it? So, one of the things is the battery can fit right in here. And I may be able to contain it all to one level and then just have like storage of extra things in the other spots. But I'm thinking that I can seal around these dividers with RTV, and then that will be my reservoir. Instead of using the canister, that could be a reservoir for a cell to make the gas. If that's the case, I can have multiple. That's one thing I like is multiple. And have multiple batteries and multiple sparking systems to, that way you can have a lot more explosions at one time. So that's some things I'm thinking. Like what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop now, put a bunch of holes in this, change out the 9-volt battery, then take you to the back bench where I have a setup to spark and ignite the bubbles, and you'll be able to see how that works. Okay, I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. I have this I guess you'd call it, sharpened, and I'm just punching holes in the plastic to release any hot air that's in there. I'm going to put a lot of these holes in there. I'm not going to use a formal method of measuring or anything. I'm just going to shove a few of these in here, and I think that will allow the hot air not to fill up the container. Okay, I replaced the 9-volt battery, and now I'm going to show you how much more powerful it is with a fresh battery. All right, so you see that it's much more powerful with a fresh battery. I put some holes in here, just a few, but that should release a fair amount of the heat. One thing I have to be very, very careful of with the permanent or the on-off switch is that I don't leave it on and accidentally touch it. So now we'll go to the back bench and see it igniting gas. Okay, so here we are at the back bench, and here's the taser. Here's the rig to hold it above the surface of the water. So I'm going to adjust it so that it is just barely above the water. I mean, it's just high enough above the water where it's not continually sparking against the surface. Only will spark whenever a bubble gets underneath it. And then my other system, which you probably have seen already, and I have the hose coming from here, from the bubbler, into this soapy solution to make bubbles. And I don't know if you can see that from here. There's the 12-volt deep cell battery that I can hook up to this, whoa, where am I? Industrial HHO cell. So once it gets going, you'll see the dirty stuff coming up through here, getting filtered in the bubbler, and then the clean gas going out here into the tank. And then I'll suspend the sparker above there. So this will be the first thing we do, is adjust the sparker adequately. Okay, here I have the taser unit above the surface of the liquid. I'm going to take it out of the tripod real quick, if I can, without, my goodness, tripod's falling over. You know, what angle do I get at so you can actually see the screws? So there's the screws, there's the surface of the water. It's probably about 3/8 of an inch above. What I'll do is I will attempt to show you my adjustment of it. So I'll lower it, it'll zap against the water, and I'll raise it a little bit and it'll stop. I'll know that's the right height. You have to do this, adjust it based on the freshness of the battery and therefore the strength of the spark. So I'll attempt to show you that.